A lot of people that know me know that I didn't want to be an architect. Specifically, didn't want to be an architect. After a little bit of time, I began to take art classes because I always felt somehow compelled to do art, to do poetic things. When I joined Jim Olson with the firm 35 years ago, he recognized that the mistake he made as a young architect evolving was to turn his back on residential work. Even though historically that was an important evolution of architecture, that you actually learned what an architect did on smaller projects, residential projects, and you learned what a human being was. You learned that in the residential arena, because in the residential arena, you're talking food, water, shelter. And maybe my partners don't all share this, but I actually think residential work is more important and is more difficult to do successfully. You're building, again, a shelter for a human being or a group of humans, and that's what I think the residential realm brings to architects, is you're going back to the core of what it means to be an architect or what it means to solve human problems, and they're more difficult. But there is a instinctual, intuitive sort of knife sharpening that has to happen when you're designing places. Sometimes I'll describe architecture as being a music composer. A musician learns their scales, and even when they become professionals, they're still doing scales. I'm amazed at their skill of looking at a sheet of music, they can hear the music, and that's a little bit what an architect should be able to do too. You should be able to look at drawings and actually hear the music, but you know the potential of that note, that little graphic drawing. It's not the music, A musician has to then interpret that and make magic out of that. But a composer already knows what's the success or what's the challenge of that piece of music. This is an instruction book. This is a how to assemble book that you're putting together. There are some rules that you can follow, and there are some experiences that you can follow, but a lot of it is instinctual. You can begin to read what you're drawing as instructions and understand the scale and the volume and the flow of that drawing. Really, at the end of the day, that's what an architect does. They design the line, the plane, and the volume of a place. And if it all works, it's a good place. If you have a sense of what it means to be in this human realm, whatever that distance is that feels comfortable, or however we move, or how do our geometries work with our arms and legs and our bodies, if you have a core understanding of that, you're going to be a better designer of large projects and of small projects. Architecture is about being a human being and how you move through space. So until you have people moving through space and experiencing it, it's kind of meaningless.